Welcome to Sister Friends Cups and Conversation. This is season 5, and I'm your host, Teresa Cooper. We all heard the phrase, you did the crime, now do the time. We're gonna have two ladies that did the crime and they did the time, and now they're gonna share with us life after incarceration. Are you ready to have a conversation? Let's go. Hello, welcome to season 5. I'm your host, Teresa Cooper. This is Sister Friends Cups and Conversation. And today I've got my co-host.
I'm here and we are ready for you. We're going to have a good time.
Yes, and we are. We're so excited that this is the opening episode for season 5. And we've got a wonderful table here today. Yes. We have Crystal Hooks.
Hello.
Crystal, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I am an employee at the work with the Department of Veterans Affairs, a wife, a mom, and work with the college and career at my wonderful church, New Creation Family Church.
All right, Crystal works with the Veterans Affairs.
Yes.
And then today we have for the very first time, I want to introduce Miss Stephanie Rogers. Hi, Stephanie. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Rogers. I'm from Shreveport, Louisiana. I'm a mother of 3, 2 adult daughters, and an 8-year-old. I'm the executive housekeeper at Hampton Inn.
All right. Okay.
That's good.
Hospitality industry.
All right.
Well, we got a wonderful table here today. And before we start, we've got to talk about our cup. So our cup today says we're all in this together. We're all in this together. The ladies have our Sister Friends logo cup. And as we start this season 5, life has been rough. We've had many transitions personally in many of our lives. We've had many transitions within the country. But I want you to know that we are better when we stay together and when we support each other. And so we are all in this together, ladies.
Yes.
You're not alone. We're cheering for you. And we're glad that you joined us for season 5.
Yay.
Yes.
All right. So today, like I said, we have a wonderful table. This is our season 5, Kathy.
Yes.
Our first episode.
and it was strange because we really had to fight to get here.
Yes.
With the weather, the COVID, so we here.
Absolutely.
We still standing.
We're still standing, and we're standing together.
That's right.
Yes.
That's the exciting part. And so come on, grab your coffee, your tea, your drinks, call a friend, click a friend, share, like. Join us today. We're going to have a conversation. I've been wanting to talk about life after incarceration and what it looks like and how we can support those that have been incarcerated. And so today we're going to take an intimate look on what it looks like after you've done the time, how to be, to be reentry back into society, back into your family, back into the workplace. This is a necessary conversation.
Yes,
ladies,
definitely.
Wouldn't you say, I think all of us in some way have been touched by the prison industry.
Yes.
By law enforcement, with corrections. It's either an uncle, a brother, a son, a cousin, a neighbor. We all know someone that's been touched by the prison system. And so it's a conversation that we have to, an ongoing conversation that we have to continue to have. And so we want to take a few minutes and we're going to ask these ladies to tell us their story. Miss Crystal, how did you find yourself at this table and why?
Well, I was 19 and worked at a department store and was trying to do the whole hookup thing.
Okay.
And, kind of got caught, So I did 90 days. I was in the county for 90 days, and I think that that was it for me. But the hardest part for me was not being with my daughter for her first Christmas. I missed her first Christmas due to being in jail. So that's how I ended up doing time.
Okay.
And so, but I do have a felony. So
Yes.
it was like, even afterwards, it still follows you and you still
Yes.
are paying for things 5 years down
Yeah.
the road that you did, you know,
Yeah.
5, 6, 7 years ago.
Right. So you
So-
were you a young adult, like in your 20s?
I was about 24.
Okay,
24. Yeah, so I
Wow.
was young. I was young.
Yeah, at the very beginning of your adulthood.
Exactly.
As you were trying to figure out how to adult.
Exactly.
You made a bad decision.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. And you did the time, but now you have what they would call a stain
Yeah.
on your record that you're dealing with.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Well, in the beginning, it was really difficult because it's like if you put down that you have a felony, nobody wants to hire.
Yeah.
That's right.
And then if you don't put it down, then they look at it as you falsified information or you lied.
Right.
And so one of my biggest things that I made up in my mind that once I got out that I would not be defined by the decision that I made,
That's right.
by the choice that I
That's
made.
good.
And so I made the decision to go back to college, and thank God I've never had to do fast food restaurants. God has always blessed me with good jobs. But I remember when I got a really good job before, it came back on my record after working there like 5 months, and they let me go.
Oh, wow.
And so, you know.
So they hired you.
Mhm.
You were qualified.
Mhm.
You were doing well on the
5
job.
months.
But then 5 months later, they found out that you had
Exactly.
a felony,
Mhm.
and
Let me go.
they let you
So
go.
let me ask a question. How long does a felony last? Say, for instance, for you.
Well, they said that it only comes up for 10 years. So 10 years after. You know, like you do a crime, it only shows up for 10 years. So now when I go and I apply for a job, I don't even think that it comes up anymore.
Yeah.
I don't even have to put it down.
But do you?
So-
every state's different.
Right.
Okay.
The
Yeah,
laws
it
are
is
different in
different.
each
You have to
state.
check every state.
Yeah, it is
because,
different.
you know, when you're filling out an application, I know there has to be that struggle. If you're watching, we're talking about life after incarceration. This is season 5 of Sister Friends Cups and Conversation. Do you have to have that struggle where
You do.
maybe 5 years, 10 years have passed, and you're filling out a job application or a homeowner's or a renter's application, and it simply says, "Do you have a felony?"
Right.
And then you have to decide at that
Right.
moment.
You gonna
well, it's
trust
been
God a
10
lot.
years. Right. Am I going to tell the truth, be forthright, or am I going to, well, it's been 10 years or it's been 20, so I'm not going to. Because it doesn't ask you when was your last felony.
Right.
It asks you, have you ever had?
And that, but see, and that
And I don't
seems
like that
so-
question.
And that seems
Yeah.
so extreme to me. You was doing a hookup, okay, it's wrong.
Right.
But 10 years of felon
Uh-huh.
to where you can't hardly survive with a good paying job.
Right.
10 years for that.
Right.
And I know everybody have to pay for, you know, their
Exactly.
indiscretions
Your
of what they
debt.
do. But that to follow you for 10 years because you're trying to get a hookup to your friends or whatever, that's out of the question.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how did you deal with?
Well, for me, I just made up my mind, like I said a minute ago, that I would not be defined by the decisions that I made. And so I made the decision to go back to school. And I really, honestly, and I know this sounds cliche, but I really trusted God.
That's right.
I really,
Yeah.
really trusted God. And there were times where I would fill out an application and I would say, okay, do I want to do this? And the Holy Spirit would say, I got you.
Yeah.
You know, and I have always been blessed with really good jobs. And so it was nothing but God. So that's why I tell people, even though you've made that decision, it's up to you.
Yes.
You can
only up to
do
you.
better. You
That's
can be
good.
better.
That's
but you
good.
have to make up in your mind. And then when you go in and you carry yourself in a certain way, that's, oh, you know, I'm going to give this person a chance.
Right.
And so, and I know for me, since I moved to Louisiana, when I did fill out an application, it said, have you been convicted of a felony? But then it asked for violence or like a sexual assault.
See, that's what I was
So,
saying.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
That makes a difference because then I can honestly say no.
Yes.
In the
Yes.
last 10 years.
Yes.
And they
Yes.
asked for about the last 10
Yes,
years.
that's good.
So
So you really have
Yeah.
to be up to date with each state's
laws.
laws and the requirements. So, Miss Stephanie, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you found yourself at this table. I'm excited to have you.
Thank you. When Miss Teresa, you text me, well, you inbox me.
Yes.
And normally, because I don't know how to work social media that well, I try not to even be on social media.
Yeah.
I was like, I thought about it and I said, well, let me give her a call. Because I'm a person, I live by my word. If I tell you I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. So I knew that somebody that trusted me had referred me to you because I'm real private about my past.
Yes.
Right.
Because I'm like Krista, I put it in my mind, I'm going to do better. Nothing is going to stop me. So for me, it's kind of hard for me to even talk about that, like what I've been through.
Yeah,
because
I understand.
It's my past now.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
I finally got to a point where it's my past.
Right.
Unfortunately, I'm different from Krista when it comes to doing time. I did 19 and a half years in and out of prison. My first time, I was gone for 12 years. Well, actually, it started with me being a juvenile because I went to juvenile detention center when I was 15. And that was the start of it. I'm the oldest of 4 children. And I kind of went from shoplifting, hooking up with the friends, to survival mode. Hey, me and my sisters and brothers gonna have the best of everything. My mother and father both were. My dad was like in and out of my life. He was on drugs. My mother was on drugs. So I pretty much was the mother in my house.
Okay.
My grandmother was 60 when I was born, so you can imagine when I got 20, she was 80.
Oh, yeah.
But she raised me and she instilled some good things in me. However, I you know, when you're doing wrong, you don't think
Right.
that you're doing wrong. I'm thinking I'm surviving.
That's right.
Yeah.
Like, so I can understand Crystal. I know I'm just surviving. I'm not, even though I know this is wrong unconsciously, but however, I'm going to do what I got to do to survive.
That's right.
It went from shoplifting to selling drugs.
Oh, okay.
And after doing 12 years, I got out. I was like, I'm going to get me a job. I'm going to go to school because I could always do hair. And I did. When I got out in 2005, I graduated from Guys Academy. I started doing
I went to Guys Academy. We're alumni.
All right.
I started doing hair. I was in the shop. However, doing hair was a trigger for me.
Okay.
It was fast money.
Right.
It was interacting with the same type of people.
Yes.
You attract those same type of
Right.
people.
Beauty school got some interesting
right.
people.
Yes.
Right.
So, and the money just wasn't fast enough
I
for
know.
me, so I went back to selling drugs.
Yeah.
So after that, I went back. I stayed out like almost 2 years that time. I went back for violation.
Okay.
Did my violation, did 2 years then, got out, tried to get a job. Well, I'm going to get out and give me a real job this time.
Yeah.
Because this just ain't working for me. However, the real job I ran into, I'm like, Krista, either you lie about it or you tell the truth. Because I always, in reentry, they tell you to put willing to discuss.
Okay.
At interview,
Okay.
when they ask you that question, they tell you don't lie about it.
Yeah.
However, when people see that, when employees see that, they automatically push you to the side. Like,
That's
really push you to the side.
But you said, I'm sorry. You said something very interesting when you were saying that you started out stealing because you were the oldest. That was kind of like the same situation. I was the oldest and, kind of didn't have a lot growing up.
Right.
So reflecting back, I used to do the same thing. I would go to the store and steal gum, go to school, sell it for 25
Girl,
cents to
me
make my
too.
lunch money.
Me
You know what I'm
too.
saying? So it only escalates.
Because
Into a bigger,
you don't get caught.
You don't get
So
caught.
You just go
Exactly.
to the next level, the next level,
Right.
the next level.
Right.
I get it.
And it's levels to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You go from, okay, now I can feed my sisters and brothers. We eating chicken, now we can eat steaks. It goes from one.
Yeah.
Especially when you're the oldest. I don't know, I'm not racial, but in Black people, they instill in the oldest child, you are to take care of your sisters and brothers.
Yes.
That's true.
However, it robs the older child from being a child.
That's
Yes.
right.
And until I got older, like almost 40, I realized I never had a childhood.
Yeah.
I didn't get to run, jump, and play because I
Wow.
was always the mother. I got to
Right.
make sure
Everybody was
that
taking
everybody was
care.
okay, from
Right.
the grandmother on down.
Yeah.
And this last, so I got out back selling drugs, back having the things that you strive, that people strive for, a nice big old house, all these cars, this and that. However, I got busted again in 2010. But in the midst of me getting busted, I get out on bond, on a $300,000 bond. I'm saying to myself, I got to do something different.
Yeah.
I got to do something different. So a police officer asked me to go to my neighborhood school and talk to a group of girls that was getting in trouble.
Okay.
And at first I was like, man, I don't want to be bothered with these kids. I got my own kids
Right.
that driving me crazy.
Right.
Like, here I am, I'm out on a $300,000 bond. What am I going to do? Which way am I going to go? Here I am finna lose all my stuff again. Because you know you're going back to prison. Because once you get in the system and you got one felony, there, especially here in the state of Louisiana, you're going back every time after that. It's no probation after that.
Wow.
Like, you going back. Once you go in the system that first time, you get in trouble again, you're going back.
Do you believe that you go back because they make it hard? The system's set up to almost help you to fail because of the requirements of probation, or what makes you what's the thing that makes you go back?
You go back because you resort back to what you want to do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or what you know.
You
and
have
there's
to be
consequences
stronger.
behind it. And it is an internal war.
It
and
is.
people
It is.
don't talk about it, and it's a problem.
Especially when you can't find that job.
Right.
When you get out.
You can't
and you
find
know
a
how to
job
get out there and
suit
hustle.
you.
And so you
Don't
know
play.
how to get out there and do
make
it.
that money.
And I believe that most people who get out, at least people I know and my family members, they got out and wanted to do right.
Right.
But when you go back to those places, no, we can't hire you. You're a felon. You've been in this, you've been in that.
Yes.
So then they get an old friend that come in, come on, you can make this quick money, and then they back where they were.
And sometimes it ain't even an old friend. It's
Your mindset.
your mindset.
It's your mindset.
Yes.
I got to do what I got to do to survive. Even though you be knowing, if I get caught, you know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So for me, when I went to the school and I started dealing with those girls, and it was these two particular girls that reminded me of me.
Oh.
My change started to come.
That's good.
And I knew, like, even when I got sentenced in 2012, I was okay with going back to do my 5 years, because I knew I was different then.
Right, your mind was already made up.
Yeah, my mind was already made up.
Yeah.
So I went to work release. I hated work release. I hated it. They take 65% of your money, 65% out of $1, and I couldn't wrap my mind around. I'm gonna go to work at McDonald's all these hours. Only to bring home $25 a week.
And that was my point when I said, do they make it hard for you? Because, you know...
That was just like...
Right.
I kept saying, they could send me back to prison.
Yeah.
I would be just fine in prison, because especially I was comfortable with prison because I had been there so many years. And I knew how to survive. And I was blessed with a mother. I got a mother that once she got off drugs and everything, if she had $1, she's going to give me 75 cents of it for me to be okay.
But I think that another thing is your mindset. As we were discussing, because I remember when I was in there, I read a book by Rick Warren called The Purpose-Driven Life.
Oh yeah, I had the same
And
book.
I read that book, and he said your commitment can develop you or they can destroy you. It was talking about character development.
Right.
And that was one of my favorite chapters. So I really think that anyone that wants to get out, and if they really want to be rehabilitated, you can. I mean, you really can. And I know that people say, well, you have to have a support system. That is true. But if your mind is made up, and your will to succeed is stronger than anything that you've endured, you're going to succeed.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
You're going to succeed.
And you know, I agree with Crystal, because even with me doing wrong, I had already put it in my mind. I'm going to succeed at selling drugs. I'm not going to be one that's going to sell a few little rocks and got this. I put it in my mind, no, I'm going to have the big house. I'm going to have the big cars, the nice jewelry, and that's where my mind took me to. And I agree with Krista on that. When I read a book in prison, The Battlefield of the Mind, Joyce Myers. It's in your mind. Like I said, my change had already came this time, and I said, you know what? Going back to prison is not an option for me. Going back to hustling is not an option for me. I literally said that aloud to myself every single day until it got down in my spirit and down in my soul. That was not an option for me. If I had to get out and work at McDonald's to make it work for me. And I've learned that it's not what you have, it's how you maintain it.
That's good.
I got out. I was like, and when I got out, I went to several places that didn't hire me because of my criminal history. And you do have to have a support system. You do have to have sisters and friends.
Right.
You do have to have somebody to embrace you, because you're going to have some hard days where you want to give up.
Right.
But when that's not around.
But when that's not around,
Exactly.
right. But what I hear you saying, that's most important. And if you're watching, Miss Crystal's done, you said 90 days, in county jail. And Miss Stephanie 3 times.
A total of 19 and
a total of 19 and a half years. And she started as a juvenile. And but she woke up. And at the point, the wake up came when she was invited to talk to a group of young girls at a school. And she saw 2 girls that she saw herself.
Right.
In those 2 girls. And that began to wake up the purpose in you.
my life, right.
Right.
And I have no regrets about anything I've been through.
Yeah.
Any.
Because it got you to this point.
Right.
And I run into people all the time that's like down and out. I'm like, look, baby, I used to be you.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's good.
And I'm telling you, at McDonald's, in the grocery stores, anywhere, because you just don't never know what God has for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I can honestly say, when I went and got my job at the Hampton Inn, I called my friend and I said, hey, Jawan, we was roommates in work release. And I said, Jawan, I need a job. And she said, huh? She bust out laughing, because in work release, she know I would always say, girl, I'm going back to prison. I don't have time for this. I'm going back. I'm not going to work for these people. Jawan, they take all our money. That is crazy.
Yeah.
I said, I'm going back, Jawan, I'm going back. And she was like, okay, come on. And I was like, okay, I'm coming. But I still was worrying in my mind,
Right.
like, is this something that I really want to do? So she called me the next day. Well, what happened, Stephanie? I was like, I'm coming, Jawan.
Yeah.
She said, no, I'm going to come get you.
Wow.
You got to come to work. She
Right.
said, everything that you told me in work release, I made it work for me. Because she had doubted, like, she would always say, how am I going to get a car? I said, girl, they give cars away now. It's not like it used to be a long time ago. She's like, how am I going to get a job? I said, I promise you, you got too much faith in God. He's going to make way for you not to, because she never lived a hustling life.
Right.
I said, girl, he would never fail you, Jawan. Even with me hustling, I would say, Lord, please don't let me get caught with all this dope. Like,
Still praying to be-
I love your honesty, though. That's the truth.
I can remember. Listen, I can
Slinging
remember.
it, friend.
That's the real
That was
deal.
me.
I can remember
Yes.
walking through the airport saying, God,
Yes.
please don't let these people stop
Exactly.
me at this checkpoint.
Exactly.
I can remember driving through Border Patrol, praying over the vehicle before I got there, actually getting out, because my grandmother had instilled that in me.
But that's the beauty of it. You were still his.
Yes. And I would pray and I would touch the
mercy.
cars
Yeah.
and be like, God, please don't let them stop this car. So I have always prayed. And I told you once, so the next day, I said, let me go by here and see. And I went by, and she said, I need somebody in the laundry. She said, Stephanie, it's a lot of work. I ain't gonna even lie to you. I said, girl, it's a lot of work in doing wrong, Jawan.
Yeah.
I just have to use you have to reverse your mentality.
Yes.
Right.
I said, girl, all the energy, the days and nights I stayed up hustling,
Hustle.
Jawan.
Oof. That's
And
a full-time job.
It is. And to deal with so many people and to still lose my stuff, girl, I don't care. I just gotta do it. I gotta suck it up and I gotta do it.
Yeah.
And I started in the laundry, and I've been there now almost 3 years.
Okay.
I'm
so
the
you've worked
executive
your
over
way. You worked your way.
housekeeping, and she's the
Okay.
assistant manager.
Wow.
And I always tell Juwan, I remember this time last year, I told Juwan, I called her, I said, girl, I got to tell you something. Something is really nagging me. And she was like, what's different? I said, Miss Karen gonna lose her job. She was the assistant manager. Juwan said, don't say that. I said, Juwan, I love her to death. We all cool. We all sisters and friends. I said, but I know the difference. The Holy Spirit told me that. I said, God finna transform you. You're going to be the assistant manager. She was like, Stephanie, no, I don't. I said, Jawan, let me tell you something. He watched every step you took. He watched every step we make. He know our hearts. And she was like, I said, at first I wasn't going to tell you because everybody can't receive that.
Yeah.
Right.
And I said, but Juwan, I can't hold it. And I said, girl, he also told me that my father was going to die and that my mother was going to be sick again. And she was like, Stephanie, I said, she was like, girl, you can go to prison and ran you crazy. I'd say, no, it's not.
Yeah, so promotion comes from the Lord.
It does. And he orders your steps.
He orders your steps.
When you trust him and when you surrender, and I can remember while getting out of prison, and I was like, Lord, I don't have that fear this time.
Yeah.
I said, I just got to trust you. And I honestly can say, I got everything, Crystal, that from working, the same stuff that I had from hustling.
Wow.
I don't have to worry
Look
about
at God.
nobody
Yeah.
taking it.
Right.
I can remember when I kept crying, telling Juwan, I said, girl, I got to give me a car, but I'm not going to put it in nobody's name. I'm not finna work
Yeah, the
a
Lord,
real
and the
job
Lord,
and make nobody else credit good. I'm not going to do it.
And the Lord provided for you. So what he did is he showed you that he could bless you.
Let me
doing
tell you.
right.
And he asked
Yeah.
me, I was praying, and he said, what kind of car you want? Plain as that. I said, well, I'll take the little SRX Cadillac truck. Because you know when you used to big things, you know, it's hard to...
Right.
I guess I had humbled myself long enough. So I called an old friend, and he said, I'm not at Shreveport no more, Stephanie. I'm the general manager at the Texarkana Or.
Okay.
He said, but come on up here and let me see what I can do
And
for
he
you.
worked it out for you.
I got there, he said, because when I was hustling, I always pay my bills. Not thinking nothing on terms of credit, but because black people don't teach you that.
Yeah.
And it's very important, and it needs to be taught at a
Did y'all-
young age.
Did you guys hear that?
It needs to
Stephanie
be
said
taught at a young age.
Credit needs to be taught at a young age. Yes.
And he said, Stephanie, you got an 804 credit score.
Shut up.
Wow.
Baby.
You can get
Wow.
anything that you want. I
it.
didn't even know.
Didn't know.
Yeah.
Yes.
I didn't even know what he was talking about, but I was too embarrassed to tell him that.
Oh.
He
Right.
said, I said, what? I called my mom. I said,
Won't he
Steve said
do
I
it?
got an 804 credit score. My mom said, girl, you can get anything in the world you want.
Yeah.
I said, how much I got to put? He said, pick your car out. I picked it out. He said, I'm going to have it delivered to you, but I'm going to give you a demo truck till we can get it, because it was in another state, and they went and got it.
Wow.
And he brought it to me. And
The favor of God.
I'm telling you, girl.
He worked it out.
Yes.
He was proving to you
Yes.
that the
So
blessings
now
could come to
I
you
try
the
to
right way.
embrace, especially ex-felons,
Yeah.
That's
because it's discouraging when you get out.
Yeah.
A lot of people, because we think I'm grown, that I can't express to you, Miss Teresa, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm frustrated. I can't get a
Right.
job. I need some help.
Right.
We as adults, those are things that we don't express.
Right. So
And
we
it's
have
needed.
to make our needs known.
Yes.
And we have to be able to communicate to our whatever our community is. You know, there's a saying that I wrote down. It says, when it comes to God, we can't run out of second chances.
Yeah.
Right.
Only out of time.
That's
good.
So we gotta, maximize the time that we have and know that
right.
God will always give us a second chance. And I love, as you can see, these ladies have amazing stories and just have a lot to share with us concerning their experience. And one of the things that I know that you brought up was about having your mind made up. And that's so important. The obstacles are going to be out there.
Right.
And as a community, we're getting better. Wouldn't you say, Kathy?
Right.
We're getting better at providing more opportunities for those that are, coming out of prison. But even as we're getting better, it has to first start with
Self.
the self,
that
with
made-up
that
mind.
person
Right.
having the made-up mind, and then also trusting in God.
That's it right there.
That if you survive, because there's a lot of people that go into prison and never
They
come
don't
out,
survive.
and they don't survive.
They don't
you know,
survive.
and so if you survived,
Yeah.
90 days, if you survived 19 and a half years, that means that God has something. There's more life for you.
That's right.
And that He has
That's right.
something for you to accomplish. And so, Kathy, is there something you would like to add?
I would just like to say that was a powerful story
Yes,
of redemption.
very,
just
very.
powerful. You know, in scripture, in James, and it talks about James 1:27, it says, religion that God our Father accepts as pure and faultless is this: to look after the orphans, the widows and those who are in their distress. That's pure religion.
Yeah.
You know, our
Yeah.
religion think we could just do these different works,
Right.
but it's people that who have been through something that we go out and we give that hand to. That's true religion.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
That's good.
And so, one of the biggest obstacles? Let me just ask both of you this before, because we're getting to the end of our episode here. What was one of the biggest obstacles you had to overcome?
Forgiving myself.
Forgiving yourself.
Forgiving myself.
How long did it take you to walk that out? To get past that?
Probably about 5 years.
Wow. Okay.
Because I had children.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
So it
that was
just
the
changed the
hardest thing.
dynamic.
It did.
Yeah.
It did. And I had to do that because I was like, I never want my kids to go through what I went through. I don't want them to make the same mistake. So,
Okay. Miss Stephanie, what was your biggest obstacle?
Forgiving myself, because my girls was 2 and 5 when I first started. They was teenagers when I got back, and I went through that repeated cycle with them.
Right.
And even when they would get mad, oh, you didn't raise us, and and I would try to. Even now, I find myself working, or they'll call me. No, they ain't gonna call. They gonna text. Hey, mom, can you cash out me such and such? And I find myself doing it, but I have to stop and say, hey, look, I done gave y'all all materialistically.
Right.
I've given you all that a mother could give.
Yeah.
And ain't nothing or nobody gonna take me back to that place.
Yeah.
And I live by that. Nothing or nobody.
Because you kind of feel guilty, so you
Yeah.
do more.
Exactly.
Because you don't want them to
overcompensate.
accept you.
Yeah.
You know, I
Yeah.
am your mother, but hey, I've done.
Yeah.
I tell
I
you that.
paid my debt to
Yeah,
society.
and know what I tell them? I say I'm so at peace. Of God caught me home right now. It is well with my soul.
Yes, and that's a
Amen.
beautiful
That's
It
place
is
to
well
be
with
in.
my soul.
You know, Matthew 6:15 says, "But if you do not forgive others their trespasses, neither will your Father forgive you of your trespasses."
That's
And we just heard these ladies say the biggest obstacle
right.
that they had to overcome was forgiving themselves. And so that scripture, you know, I'm sure had to marinate within your spirit that I don't just have to forgive others,
Right.
but I first have to forgive
Start with
myself.
That's it.
Forgive myself.
Start with self.
And so this has been a great conversation. I know that you were inspired. I know that you were blessed. And look up these ladies on their social media platforms. Send them questions. Just celebrate them as they continue to live free and liberated in every area of their lives, because there is life after incarceration. Thank you, and God bless. Don't forget, Something to Sip On is next. Thank you for joining us for Season 5. This was a great episode. Stephanie and Crystal shared powerful stories of redemption. Be sure to follow us across all of our social media platforms. And don't forget to join us next Wednesday at 12 Central Time for Sister Friends Cups and Conversation. Don't forget, Something to Sip On is next. This is Something to Sip On. The first thing I want to say is this was an episode.
Yes, it was good.
And I want to
was.
say, see their humanity. Don't just see their past, their prison time, but see their humanity. Ephesians 4:32 says, "Be kind to one another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another as God in Christ forgave you." Sip on
good.
that. Miss
good.
Stephanie, what are you sipping on?
I know where I've been, but I never know where I'm going. I live by that,
Yes.
Right.
I know where I've been.
but I don't know where I'm going.
Uh-huh.
And I live by
And
that.
you live by that. Yes.
I know where you've been,
Yes.
but you never know where you're going.
Yes.
That's good.
Have faith.
All right.
All right, Miss Crystal.
So I am sipping on, just because you made a mistake doesn't mean you have to pay for it the rest of your life.
Okay.
That's right. Right. And I'm going to sip on, let me say this, redemption, I would say, is a reward from God.
Oh,
Yes, it is.
Beautiful.
Yes, it is.
Thank you.
All right.
Be blessed.